Yes. BMC Radio, we are live here from Brixton. 1 2 1 2 sound check. So welcome along. My name is Tigas. This is the show called the Nakama Waves here at BMC Radio. What a big music community. Such a big pleasure to be here today. We have a beautiful show ahead of us, 2 hours with myself, another friend called Chelsea May, and Yossi, our guests. So I'm gonna play some music now just to start with some Levitation Orchestra here from London.
It's like I have a burning, and water keeps on turning, like a hermit in the dark. I'm yearning. These eyes I have, they're searching. The vision of a swirling in the moonlight chilling. Still burning. This light that keeps returning. The hunger hypnotizing. Guided footsteps for our path. With learning to see another day. To see another day. I do.
limiting belief that we're not capable. What a relief to let go of this story. Now I sit on my throne in its glory. You can pick me down to the bone, but I'm inherent in everything, the marrow of life, hear me sing. It's sick, the vision of me is far past the ceiling. Now I'm here reeling it all in. No fibre of my hair or skin can be deemed a sin. It's society that's polluted. My testimony still unrefuted. So believe in me as I spit it out. I'm here to shout about the myths that let perpetuate. Women are still advertised as fate. A hellish state escalated. The lifelong consequences are grossly underestimated. So why do we use it in slang so sinisterly appropriated? Rape equates hate. Rape equates hate. I state my vision to speak truth on tape. Our voices, we're here to enable the youth. We're artists with choices, not delinquent. Now here's the proof. I stick here, I stick. I stick here, I stick. I stick with this shit sit. So when the pain pricks, I kick hard. When the fight upsurges, I get real lit. From a par to the next bar, packed with a punch like a lunch that purges. Honestly, me and my creative urges. I discuss myself, this lust for life must be unhealthy. The way I go about my art, it's like I might lose my part, but I'm stealthy. Going through the heart cause it's wealthy. This treasure chest I confide was wedged deep inside as I lied time and time again. Horizontally, I can't hide or cower. I'm here to empower me and you, and through this rain shower, I flower. Through this rain shower, I flower. So how could you be sour? Yes, it's true. It happened to me too. I didn't post about it, no flagging it, no hashtagging it, no boasting. I won't boast, bow, or take your applause. We're only here to make a righteous noise out of a righteous cause. So, why do any one of us still think that we are not capable? It's not small. There's a big ting and a step all about the prep. Shedding's a staple, so sweeten this passion like maple syrup and stir with oats to keep me going. For breakfast against my ropes, I'm showing no signs of slowing on this boat. We're rowing uphill. Higher, higher, higher, higher, higher. Still don't ask me to take a kill me. I came to inspire and that's the deal. So watch me and all of us roast like wildfire as our art points to the parts that most don't even feel.
Why don't you listen to her? Cause she's somewhere else. Gonna get done. And then why don't you listen to her? Cause you're somewhere else. Gonna get done. And then why don't you listen to her? Cause you're somewhere else. Gonna get done. And then why don't you listen to her? Cause you're somewhere else. And then why don't you listen to her? Listen to her.
Yes. Welcome along. This is the show Dina Calma Waves here at BMC Radio, and we are live from Brixton. My name is Tigas, and we have here Chelsea. Do you want to say hello, Chelsea? The mic is working, I think.
Hello.
So yes, we are Nakama Collective.
Woo.
The show today is, as always, special. We have Chelsea here. She's going to be hosting the show with me, especially on the second hour, where we're going to welcome here into the station Yossi. Do you want to say something about Yossi, maybe?
So he's a poet, and he's up to loads of really cool stuff, which we're going to find out about later, but he's doing loads of really good stuff, and that's why I wanted to invite him on for a chat, because he's just doing really good stuff for like community and for children and stuff we want to hear about.
Awesome. Yeah, I will leave for later because I'm also excited to see live from the radio here. Anyway, to start with, I played this tune from this album. It was released last year. It's a band, it's a collective here from London, and it's called Levitation Orchestra. They are doing some gigs around London through the past few weeks. And so if you don't know Levitation Orchestra, yes, please find them out. This is the second album already. And the next one I will play is from a Brazilian artist called Toquinho. I don't need to say much about him, so let's go with music. Yes. It was a live accident here in the radio. But we keep playing now, Toquinho.
Dentro do tempo, universo na imensidão. Dentro do sol, o calor peculiar do verão. Dentro da vida, uma vida me conta uma história que fala de mim. Dentro de nós, os mistérios do espaço sem fim. Volto no tempo, menino, fieira e peão. Sonhos embalam no vento, a pipa e o balão. galã. Entre piratas e primas, tesouros e medos de assombração, eu só sabia que a vida invadia os sentidos, regia o coração. E o sol me aquecia e brilhava em qualquer estação. A vida invadia os sentidos, regia o coração. E o sol me aquecia e brilhava em qualquer estação. Se hoje me pego nos labirintos da razão, vem o menino que eu fui e me estende sua mão. E ele me acalma, trazendo a antiga e serena doce sensação. Eu só sabia que a vida invadia os sentidos, regia o coração. E o sol me aquecia e brilhava em qualquer estação. A vida invadia os sentidos, regia o coração. E o sol me aquecia e brilhava em qualquer estação.
Karımın hamile olduğunu öğrenince ufaklık diye bir beste yaptım oğluma. Geceleri çalmaya başladım. Ameliyathaneye sokmadılar beni. Kenarda bekledim. Uzaktan çığlığını duydum. İşte dedim. İşte benimki.
Yes, everyone. Welcome along. We are live here at BMC Radio. My name is Tigas. If you are tuning in now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everyone listening. We are live here. And we have guests today. They are just here outside, preparing for the second hour. Chelsea May and Yossi. So we're going to be chatting here with Yossi about, his poetry project, his life. Gonna play some tunes as well, but for the first hour I'm here play some tunes for you, some Brazilian tunes. We just heard this album from DJ Tudo. DJ Tudo is a Brazilian musician, producer. He produces so many albums. It's very good music. It's North Brazilian music. It's something more cultural, something more traditional, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. The next one is gonna be by these guys called Orquestra Afro-Brasileira. It's really old music. It's like a masterpiece, something that we can appreciate here in the radio. So if you are, at home, wherever you are now, make yourself comfortable and take a nice deep breath, and let's enjoy this piece of art by Orquestra Afro-Brasileira.
Nossa Senhora do Rosário. Viva! Viva São Benedito. Viva! Viva Santa Efigênia. Viva! Viva todos que vêm na Rosário de Maria. Viva! Ô Senhora do Rosário, ó Senhora é uma mãe tão boa. Ô Senhora do Rosário, oh, venha ver seus filhos ajoelhar.
bar, jogava viola no mundo, mas fui lá no fundo buscar. Se eu tomar viola, ponteu, eu canto e não posso parar. Não, quem me dera agora tive essa viola pra cantar. Quem me dera agora tive essa viola pra cantar.
Yes, everyone. Again, welcome along. We are live here from Brixton, London, at BMC Radio. So, yeah, thanks BMC Radio for having us here today. It's a nice show. So, if you are joining now, welcome. And if you are listening since the beginning, thanks. And just to bring a bit more of context about what we are doing here. So, we are Nakalma Collective. And Nakalma is a collective from Brazil, from London. We produce some things, some events here in London. One of them is a music and poetry night as well, and where we met Yossi, and he is here today for the second hour of the show as well. We're going to be interviewing him, playing more tunes, talking about, you know, both projects, his life and everything. And yeah, we are here at BMC Radio once a month with this show called the Nakama Waves, and the idea of the show is not just, you know, play some tunes and talk about the tunes, but also to bring here into the station a bit of what we do outside of the station with the event of music and poetry. So we're gonna be inviting more poets, more producers, more musicians to come here to chat with us, and yeah, I hope people will enjoy it, you know. And for today's show, for the first hour, I'm playing here some Brazilian tunes, and I tried to pick a few tunes that they have poems on it, because, you know, why not? And the next one I'm gonna play here is from a brilliant artist, a Brazilian artist called Vinícius de Moraes. And yeah, he used to be a great poet, a great music writer, and in a lot of his music he always says some poems. And yes, for the Brazilians in the house, enjoy these ones. For the non-Brazilians, I hope you can learn some Portuguese, and then you will understand the poem as well. So yeah, stay tuned. The second hour of the show is going to be really nice. We're here until 6 p.m. UK time, okay? Let's go with Vinícius de Moraes now.
É melhor ser alegre que ser triste. Alegria é a melhor coisa que existe. É assim como a luz no coração. Mas para fazer um samba com beleza é preciso um bocado de tristeza, preciso um bocado de tristeza, senão não se faz um samba não. Senão é como amar uma mulher só linda. E daí? Uma mulher tem que ter qualquer coisa além da beleza. Qualquer coisa de triste, qualquer coisa que chora, qualquer coisa que sente saudade. Um molejo de amor machucado, uma beleza que vem da tristeza de se saber mulher, feita apenas para amar, para sofrer pelo seu amor e para ser só perdão. Fazer samba não é contar piada, quem faz samba assim não é de nada. O bom samba é uma forma de oração. Porque o samba é a tristeza que balança, e a tristeza tem sempre uma esperança. A tristeza tem sempre uma esperança de um dia não ser mais triste, não. Feito essa gente que anda por aí brincando com a vida. Cuidado, companheiro, a vida é pra valer, e não se engane não, tem uma só. Duas mesmo que é bom, ninguém vai me dizer que tem sem provar muito bem provado, com certidão passada em cartório do céu e assinado embaixo. Deus, e com firma reconhecida. A vida não é de brincadeira, amigo. A vida é a arte do encontro, embora haja tanto desencontro pela vida. Há sempre uma mulher à sua espera, com os olhos cheios de carinho e as mãos cheias de perdão. Põe um pouco de amor na sua vida, como no seu samba. Põe um pouco de amor numa cadência e vai ver que ninguém no mundo vence a beleza que tem no samba, não. Porque o samba nasceu lá na Bahia, e se hoje ele é branco na poesia, se hoje ele é branco na poesia, ele é negro demais no coração. Eu, por exemplo, o capitão do mato Vinícius de Moraes, poeta e diplomata, o branco mais preto do Brasil, na linha direta de Xangô. Saravá! A bênção, senhora, a maior Ialorixá da Bahia, terra de Caíbe e João Gilberto. A bênção, Pixinguinha, tu que choraste na flauta todas as minhas mágoas de amor. A bênção, senhor, a bênção, Cartola, a bênção, Ismael Silva, sua bênção, Heitor dos Prazeres. A bênção, Nelson Cavaquinho. A bênção, Geraldo Pereira. A bênção, meu bom Ciro Monteiro, você sobrinho de Nonô. A bênção, Noel. Sua bênção, Ari. A bênção, todos os grandes sambistas do meu Brasil branco, preto, mulato, lindo como a pele macia de Oxum. A bênção, maestro Antônio Carlos Jobim, parceiro e amigo querido, que já viajaste tantas canções comigo e ainda há tantas a viajar. A bênção, Carlinhos Lira, parceirinho 100%, você que une a ação ao sentimento e ao pensamento. A bênção. A bênção, Baden Powell, amigo novo, parceiro novo, que fizeste esse samba comigo. A bênção, amigo. A bênção, maestro Moacir Santos, que não és um só, és tantos. Tantos como o meu Brasil de todos os santos, inclusive meu São Sebastião. Saravá! A bênção que eu vou partir, eu vou ter que dizer adeus. Põe um pouco de amor numa cadência e vai ver que ninguém no mundo vence a beleza que tem num samba, não. Porque o samba nasceu lá na Bahia, e se hoje ele é branco na poesia, se hoje ele é branco na poesia, ele é negro demais no coração.
Meti minha bossa pra mostrar que a gente nossa também sabe cantar com aquele molho de abafa. E de repente, quando eu atuava naquela estação, ouvi no estúdio um barulhão. Correrias, tiros, comandos, uma confusão. Pararam até com a irradiação. Fui agarrada por 2 soldados e um oficial que disse: é a tal que diz ser artista, mas que não passa de uma espiã. Vai ser fuzilada amanhã. Eu disse logo: oh, minha gente está equivocada. Eu canto samba imaginada. Me responderam: esse seu samba é mensagem cifrada. Está camuflada. E me encostaram numa parede em frente ao pelotão, me apontando o coração. Fiquei esperando a fria ordem da execução. Mas olha, a situação ficou esquisita. Me perguntaram qual era a minha última vontade. Eu disse a minha liberdade. E o oficial sacou da espada e levantou no ar. Já ia me bombardear. E de repente, a ordem fogo oficial exclama. Eu acordei embaixo da cama. Foi tudo um sonho, graças a Deus. Um sonho e nada mais. Eu vou deixar de ler jornal. Mas é que eu fui à Europa pra cantar samba de break. Ah, não há rádio de lá. Quando eu cheguei foi um chuá. Meti minha bossa pra mostrar que a gente nossa. Ah, também sabe cantar. O tico-tico lá, o tico-tico. E de repente, quando eu atuava naquela estação, ouvi no estúdio barulhão. Deixa eu ver. Correrias, tiros, comandos, uma confusão. Parar até com a irradiação. Fui agarrada por 2 soldados e um oficial que disse: pega ela, que diz ser artista, mas que não passa de uma espinha. Vai ser tchac, tchac, tchac, tchac. Amanhã eu disse logo: oh, minha gente está equivocada. Eu canto tem, tic, tem, o tico-tico lá. Esse seu tico é mensagem cifrada. Você está camuflada. E me encostaram numa parede em frente ao pelotão, me apontando o coração. Fiquei esperando a fria ordem da execução. Mas olha, a situação ficou esquisita, meu caro. Me perguntaram qual era a minha última vontade. Eu disse: só interessa se vocês me derem a minha liberdade. E oficial sacou da espada e levantou no ar. Já ia me bombardear, coitadinha de mim. E de repente, a ordem fogo oficial exclama. Eu acordei embaixo da cama. Foi tudo um sonho, graças a Deus. Um sonho e nada mais. Eu vou deixar de ler jornais.
Hello. Yes, that's BMC Radio. Everyone listening. This is Voices of Tânia Maria.
Eu era um malandro malvado, mas hoje estou regenerado.
Yes, Tânia Maria. Big ups, Tânia Maria. And yeah, we got 10 minutes to go here until 5 o'clock, where we will have the, most important part of the show. Because, who cares about me? No one. Anyway, I'm gonna play here a tune. This album is fresh music. It was released now 2023, so we got 5 months only. Music with Soul Records. The artist behind this album is called Alex Figueira, and I met him a couple of weeks ago in Holland on the Record Planet record fair. and yeah, he, introduced me to this album. So he produced everything, all the instruments. So he recorded one by one, put everything together, did the mixing, the master, and talented guy. So yes, I'm gonna play this one. So if you don't know, Alex Figueira is just out now. He is releasing another one soon as well. It's a nice mix of how can I say, world music as well in this album. A lot of like psychedelic things as well, some effects, some Afrobeat, of course, some also Brazilian influence behind it. Latin American music is a good album to have. So yeah, big up Alex. Yes, everyone. So yeah, big up Alex Figueira. This album here, sorry, now you can see. Yeah, just released 2023, Music with Soul Records. So parabéns, Alex. Nice music. Right, so we have here now Chelsea and Yossi, and they're gonna take over from me a bit more and doing this second hour of the show. where we invited here today Yossi. Thank you so much for coming. So I will leave with you guys, introduce yourself or whatever.
Thank you, Tiago. Everyone, welcome to the Nakama Waves. Thank you for listening in so far. Thank you, Tiago, for some lovely tunes. So here we have Yossi, and I'm really excited to chat to him today because he does some really, really good stuff for the world, I believe, for the community, for children, and just for creatives. So we're going to get into that and talk about what he's doing and how to join in and come along. And of course, we're going to have some live poems as well. So exciting. How are you, Yossi?
I'm good, thank you, Chelsea. Thanks for having me. It's lovely
You're
to
welcome.
be here. Thanks, Tiago, for the beautiful music, the beautiful intro. Yeah, excited to be here and have a little chat.
Thank you for being here. So we're going to get into it more as we go on, and we're going to play some tunes. But do you want to kind of just tell everyone who you are?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Yossi. I'm a spoken word artist and an educator. My background is in acting and performance, but from a young age I've been involved in education and inclusive theatre and working creatively with groups of people. So I'm part of the organisation Right to Speak. I co-founded that with my best friend Tyler about 5 years ago, and we're a spoken word poetry organisation. We support young people and adults from all walks of life to express themselves through spoken word, and we do that mostly through workshops, but also by running regular events and making films and generally community organising and working with people to express themselves. I'm also a performer in my own right. I've got some projects out at the moment, and yeah, I like talking to people.
Wow.
And I like words and lyrics and stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. You're very busy.
I try.
No, but it's really lovely because I think when people do things for community, it's making the world a better place, isn't it? And it's bringing your gifts to, because I think we all have gifts. Do you agree?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think community is a big thing that's missing in our society today, and I think it's something that naturally as people we all need to be involved in community, and whether that's through creativity or sport or music or whatever, it's really important to have those spaces. And for me, I always found, like, from the moment I was introduced to the art form of spoken word, all the events I went to were really supportive spaces, and I felt I was welcomed and listened to and accepted for what I had to say, not based on my appearance and how I sounded. And that was really freeing for me, and so that's, I guess, led me to go on to try and create those spaces for other people.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I feel the same. Like, when I first came to like a Nakama event, for example, and it's just like you're just welcomed and you're just thanked for being here, just for being you, for showing up today. And like, it makes you feel like you want to, because sometimes life can get heavy and you're like, I want to isolate myself. When like something is tough, or it's so easy to isolate yourself, but really the medicine is community and being together.
100%, and that's so contrasting to our education system, for example, where young people are not valued just for being themselves. They're made to feel like they're not good enough if they don't achieve certain arbitrary exam grades, whereas we need to create spaces where everyone is welcome just for who they are. I first started learning that at Chicken Shed Theatre Company, which is where I met Tyler, who I run my business with, and which is where I was trained in performance from a really young age. And they're an inclusive theatre company, and their ethos is to work with all types of people with all abilities and disabilities, and to celebrate them for who they are. And from the moment I walked into that building as a 9 or 10-year-old kid, I felt at home. And I think that is so important as a value in whatever we do.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I think like energy speaks loud, doesn't it? And sometimes you can walk into somewhere and you can feel safe, or you can feel unsafe. Yeah. And I'm sure at your events as well, you hold a very safe and loving space, because that's very much what you're like as well.
We certainly do, and that's exactly what I experienced when I came to an Nkama event, and that was really beautiful. I think there's some similarities in the way we hold our events and hold space, that we are acknowledging what needs to be done spiritually, essentially, to create the right energy in the room. There's very few events other than mine and yours where I've been to where people do a breathing exercise with everyone at the beginning of the event, just to make sure everyone's present, and I think it's such a lovely touch.
Yeah, it's so special. Because it's nice, like, when so many humans come together, and especially in a city where it's so busy and everyone's on a different vibe, it can be like a real mesh of energies. So yeah, I love doing breathing exercises to bring everyone together and
And it puts a lot of people out of their comfort zone a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it's a little bit, what are we doing? And you know, it can be a bit weird at first,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things. Until you try it, you shouldn't judge it. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, as a kid growing up, I definitely, if you'd thrown the idea of meditation or doing breathing exercises at me, I would have told you where to go. You know, it's not cool, is it? But as you get older, you realise the value in some things like that.
It's so true. There can be like a stereotype, can't there, of like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not that type of person. But you just have to be human. You don't even have to be human.
And it's the exact same thing we have with poetry. There's a stigma attached to it that it's elitist and it's for old middle class white people. And that has been true in the past. But with spoken word, we totally break that stereotype and we show people that poetry is for everyone and it can be anything.
Yeah, that's so true. Definitely. Oh, well, that's really beautiful. Should we get this show on? And would you like to perform your first poem?
I'd love to.
Maybe you can talk about it a little bit if you like.
I think I'll just get straight into it and then maybe we can talk about it after.
Okay, cool.
I'm rolling with some witches and some bards and some healers. Real human beings being human with their feelings. I'm rolling with some witches and some bards and some healers. Real energy readers so you can't deceive us. Came together in the Roman garden breathing. Now we walk through Eden's heaven every evening when we're reading. Freedom from these pages, I see meaning in everything. Too terrifying, can't teleport, so I terraform my internal form until it resembles something more glorious. Past time when my passions make my mind more flawless. My temporal lobes are tortured by this tepid place, tamed by TikTok's grace. Which app is going to save the human race? So I meditate with Headspace to try and work it out, bench pressing demons off my mind to get them out. I don't think I've quite got it. Did Buddha have this logic? Imagine the Dalai Lama or any religious leader reading from a scripture on a screen that's got their brain bleeding from the frequencies it's releasing. My fingers burn when I form words on a phone, so I try pick up a pen and leave it at home. Ain't going in my pocket unless it's on aeroplane mode. Hit the road with a road and record it as we rode, trying to capture fragments of this life in broken code, but the truth is, we're losing our human reality. We haven't evolved for this future of virtual insanity, but I'm trying to keep hold of my humanity. So I'm rolling with some witches and some bards and some healers. Real human beings being human with their feelings. I'm rolling with some witches and some bards and some healers. Real human beings being human with their feelings.
Woo!
Thank you, thank you.
Clicking into the mic. That was amazing, Yossi.
Oh, thank you so much.
Would you like to talk about it a little bit? Because there was so much in that.
That's an interesting one. So I wrote that piece actually. I don't know where the line came from. It just came in my head. I'm rolling with some witches and some bards and some healers. I think I was trying to write something positive about like kind of something celebratory. And although my work often drifts away from that and into the problems of the world and society, with that piece, I guess I tried to keep an element of hope. And for me, I guess that is about community, and it's about the people I've met through the spoken word community and embracing our quirkiness, if you like, and embracing our spiritual sides, whether that is through writing or through healing or through leading or through community work. And then also, obviously, in it, I explore, I say obviously, I don't know if people follow the references when I speak at that pace, but I talk about my phone being on airplane mode and how the technology, particularly the smartphones that we are swamped with in today's society, how they pull us away from our humanity and how they take us out of the real world. And it's so cliched to say, but we can't say it enough because it's true, and it's destroying our youth and our humanity as a society. And so I talk about that and how it's important to keep your phone on airplane mode if you're going to put it in your pocket so you don't get cancer from it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Literally, I completely agree. Like, I find myself, and I think so many people, in such a like weird place with social media because it can be amazing, you know. It's how I know you. It's how we connect a lot. Like, it can be a place of connection, but also I know that it's bad for us as well, you know. Like, so much time just spent on it, and the comparison, you don't mean to, and you tell yourself you're not, but really you are. You know, you're laying in bed, you're scrolling, it's a nice day, people are doing good stuff, and you're just like, I feel.
And it's such a global experiment with the human psychology that no one consented to, you know, and we don't have a choice about whether we're part of this unless you choose to run away from it and live on the fringes of society. But the way society is going at the moment is actually it's becoming harder to participate in society unless you have a smartphone and you're on certain apps.
Yeah, and that's
really
what's scary. Yeah, for sure. Because I want to be part of community. I don't want to miss out and be left out. And like you say, now it's like well, you're going to be unless you're on this
It's absolutely
platform.
terrifying, and it's really elitist
Yeah.
and exclusive. And there's a lot of people who actually suffer from something called electromagnetic sensitivity, which is the extreme version of the mild headache you might be familiar with getting if you speak on a mobile for a while, or if you sit next to a Wi-Fi box for a long period of time, you might find yourself getting a bit of a headache or tinnitus. And the extreme version of that is ES, electromagnetic sensitivity, which thousands of people around, or tens of thousands, maybe millions of people around the world live with, and it's barely spoken about. And some of those people can't leave their houses and can't go into public places because of the amount of radiation that is buzzing around those places and the effects on their health from that.
And of course it's not spoken about, because why would it? Because then,
Industry.
the man doesn't benefit from us. Because I think about this a lot, and I struggle to stay present on social media. So sometimes I'll just spend a little bit of time just pre-making posts so that I can just and then I don't have to think about it. I can just put them up. I've done my little job and then it's done.
And if you are going to use social media and engage with that, then you have to find coping mechanisms and structures to make sure that you aren't using it in an abusive way or a damaging way.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that you might not even be conscious of.
No. I think a lot of us are, I think most of us are addicted to our smartphones in some way, but because they're so involved in our daily lives, we don't quite realise the extent to which we're reliant on them, and we suffer or can't kind of function properly, can't live without them. And I don't know if you've spent any time without your phone, but you do find yourself going in your pocket just to check it for no reason.
Yeah.
And I feel like these things are quite universal.
Yeah, definitely. I got myself a watch because I don't want to keep looking at my phone.
An old school watch. I need one of those as well.
So now I can just check the time and then I don't have to go on my phone.
Genius. Who would have thought of that?
A watch.
It's like the future.
And also because I think about this a lot, so I have a friend called Sarah. She has performed with us before, actually. And she's Norwegian and she's just moved back to Norway. And we have some really, really good chats. And we were talking about how are we going to stay connected without it's always being digital over our phones. So now we only write letters to each other. And it's really nice because I can spend a long time to get back to someone anyway. And then I feel really guilty and weird. So for us, instead, we just send a letter in the mail to each other once a month, and we just update each other on everything we've got going on.
That's
and it's
so nice.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Old-fashioned way of communicating. And I think the way that we communicate has changed so much by the structure of the apps that we communicate through.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're writing a letter, it's a bit more like doing a podcast. You just have a slightly more longer form thought.
Yeah.
And it's not like this exchange of very short sentences. You can actually form something to say and then take your time responding to that.
Yeah, and you really can sit down with it and think about it. And also you can think, what do I want to put out into the universe? Because I think everything that you write, is written and it's out there.
Yeah.
So when you have a physical paper and pen and you're writing, it's really intentional. And that's like poetry as well.
And there's something beautiful in the art of just putting pen to paper and watching the ink form whatever it is you've got to say on the paper, which still exists when you're typing on an electronic device, but it slightly changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's something that isn't quite there when you literally see. It's kind of magic because, obviously you're not creating something from nothing, but you are, you've got the pen and you have a blank page and then you think and you move your pen and you can create art and you can create something which can last and you can create something that can inspire people from nothing.
It's so beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's a beautiful process.
Yeah. Well, shall we play a couple of tracks?
Let's do it.
Would you like to play some of yours?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That would be awesome. Can I press this back button? Yeah. Awesome. Let's start with a track from my first project. The project's called For Some Reason, the EP. I released it. What year are we in now? It's 2023. So I released it at the end of April 2021, on the last day of April 2021, and then broke my leg on the first day of May 2021. So I was like about to do a radio tour and start performing the project, and then I was bedbound for 6 months with a broken leg, thanks to Sunday League football. So I never really got to kind of tour the project properly, but yeah, it's out on all platforms now. I'd love to start with the track Nature Baby, if that's cool. It's on the other set of files. So if you just go back, there we go. Yeah, the WAVs. There we go. Nature Baby was the first single from the project. There's a video out now. It features my best friend Tyler Cunningham and an amazing singer who goes by the name of Emily Beacock. Make sure you check out the video on YouTube. It's Nature Baby, Yossi, YOSSI. Enjoy. When I hear a ripple trickle, nature's symbol, the waterfall riddle, insides tingle. Why not live a little? Why not give a little? Why not breathe? Not just inhale, exhale, but breathe. My call to arms, your morning homage. My open palms hold your falling stars. Together we are perfect. You're yellow and blue, but green. Together we are.
Together we are perfect. Dancing when the sun comes up. You're giving me purpose. Take away my breath, hold up. Together we are learning. Teach me from the start, ground up. With your magnificence burning. I know, it's over.
I wish Earth could see the inner me when I'm bathing in her imagery. Listen, hear her singing G. No quartet or symphony. More raw like Gets and sing for me. And I like all her similes. Please replace my need for intimacy with respect for your intricacy. This is simple to see, I'm not stepping on bees. I'm not trying to preach, but I'm begging you listen to her ecosystem, because it's full of hidden wisdom. Need to treat her like a sister, but we burn her, leave her blistering. Barely watching, inkling into her demise. It's as if we only see in black and white skies, but it's black and white lies. No way to disguise the dumb guy who denies climate change. It's hard to explain. If only flattery with words worked, I'd show you a word's worth. I could make your climate change, because Earth, your pattern picture perfect with your patchwork below surface. It's certain I'm asserted to serving your purpose. There's nothing more worth it than saving the earth when it's bruised and it's hurt and it's raised from the dirt time and time again. There's nothing more worth it than saving the earth, cause it's plain that we hurt it. Damn man, it's planes that hurt it. There's nothing more worth it than saving the earth, cause without it we're worthless. It is our only inhabitable surface.
Together we are perfect. Dancing when the sun comes up. You're giving me purpose. Take away my breath, hold up. Together we are learning. Teach me from the start, ground up. Watch your magnificence burning. I know, it's over now.
Resource that can cure depression for free, or enhance anyone's happiness, exercise in nature and sea, but that don't make peas for pharmaceutical companies, so I'm challenging these Valium-pushing freaks. Pharmaceuticals cure everything, please. When the side effects may cause suicidal thoughts in young people, how they're giving this to depressed teens is evil, especially when it's not a last resort. But the NHS council only has half an hour a month to talk, and they might not mention that nature's a tackle depression weapon. But they're happy to invest in battle and inventing weapons, destroying our beautiful natural settings. The only thing heaven sent, not that I believe, but I'm screaming save the elements. Sitting in these trees, playing in their reverence. Here I am in a track now, narrating back the evidence.
Narrating back the evidence. Narrating back the evidence. It's so evident, yeah.
You are the foundation of all our art. I could not rhyme all that thou art. You are the foundation of all our art. I could not rhyme all that thou art.
Together we are perfect.
Together we are perfect.
Dancing when the sun comes up. You're giving me purpose. Take away my breath, hold up. Together we are learning. Teach me from the start, ground up. Watch your magnificence burning. I know, it's over now.
Together we are perfect. Dancing when the sun comes up. You're giving me purpose. Take away my breath, yeah.
I know, it's over now.
Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale.
Together we are perfect. Dancing when the sun comes up. You're giving me purpose. Take away my breath, hold up. Together we are learning.
Kill off the youth's ambition, rendering a generation of failures. It's like we're balanced on the verge of greatness, but hanging by a thread we're weightless. Capitalistic daggers how we take this, generic reprogramming of our homeostasis. Everybody's baited by the profits of a day shift, But this business is basest and the money is contagious. So we quarantine ourselves in metaphorical cages. Rats chasing our tails, scavenging for wages. Patience is waning, falling for raises. Killing each other while trying to climb to a paycheck. But it's fireman a days and I'm writing and blazing a haze and I'm faded. Philosophically out of my depth like I waded too far into these pages. Like I painted it with what I think, stained it with the ink. Can you believe we're on the brink of evolutionary supremacy? In the same millennia we developed enough weaponry and hereditary tendencies to destroy the planet's legacy forever. See, technology encompasses your energy. And our species has come so far, chasing a dream we'll never see. If we continue to threaten the world with nuclear weaponry, I have to scream, tell him, G. This should be elementary, not secondary school to our thoughts. But it's cool now, we've got law schools and courts, more concerned with the commodities we're bought than the values we're taught. We're all flawed and warped, bored and poor, wanting more and more. I think it's historically obvious. Subliminal hypocrisy doesn't bother us. Humankind's never been so abominably conscious. Not abominably, cause we're doing anything abominable except for the guns, but bombing makes peace, so we're bombing them all. I'm begging you, Donald, not to build a wall. You're nothing more than a frolicking fool. But I say inspiration is a pyramid. So listen close, follow the limerick. With him at the top, the only thing dripping off is syphilis. It's ridiculous. How's a man with this level of ignorance sitting there claiming power and influence? Shut up with your bigoted views. Get off the news, he's a prude and particularly crude. We shouldn't be giving him an audience to spout this shit to, but we do, so it's cool, I guess. Back to school, where kids learn less of life's crucial tools. More that you must sit there, not speak and follow the rules. Not that that's anything new, but nowadays young people have nothing to look up and aspire to. When the people at the top of our society exemplify everything that's wrong with today in these hellish concepts we play, I guess this agonizing ignorance is blissful in a way, but not enough to float away. So I guess we just stay in our ends and don't learn. But I don't rate that. I can't sit there and take that. Still in my hood like Stormzy and Ray Black, so far forward but stuck so way back. So someone please explain to me how it's not plain to see that something is going majorly wrong within our society. When the powers that be, holding, or moreover controlling our values, those same groups of people who can orchestrate the building of enough chemical weapons to destroy a planet that houses 7.6 billion human residents. Yeah, those same groups of people who can orchestrate the building of enough chemical weapons to destroy a planet that houses 7.6 billion human residents cannot create an education system to empower, teach cooperation and tackle the evils we've created. Hey, I guess everybody is still baited by the profits of a day shift, but this business is basest and the money is contagious. And doesn't it bother you? Doesn't it bother you that those people who are truly in power are never held accountable for their actions? They didn't create an education system to empower, just to teach division and fractions. We've got to change the world somehow, for some reason. It's Yossi. Artiste Production.
Woo!
Thanks for listening. Produced
Amazing.
by artists. That was Matthew Castle on the guitar, Emily Beacock and Tyler Cunningham on the vocals, and myself, Yossi, on the lyrics.
Amazing. Yeah, there was a lot. Did you see me? I was just listening.
It's a lot. It's a bit different to listening to music as well, isn't it? Let's be
Yeah.
honest. It's a weird kind of art form to be making, and it's like a weird evolving art form, kind of trying to hit that
Yeah.
sweet spot where you can give meaningful content in a way that's pleasing to the ear and
Yeah.
something that you kind of listen to again and again, and it's really hard to do. I don't know if I've quite done
Yeah.
it yet, but
Well, I
think Kay
loved it.
Tempest does it superbly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you're right, actually.
and there's no one else who does it really quite like she does.
Yeah.
Like in my eyes, she's the only artist that really creates like such meaningful content, such meaningful poetry with music that's an absolute vibe.
Yeah, that you want to listen to like
Again and again. Yeah, you know, there's certain songs that you put on in the car and you're like, oh, and like it's hard to do that with poetry.
Yeah,
And so
it is when it's
a
you have
different art form. It's
things that you're getting out.
yeah, it's to be taken in a slightly different way. I
Yeah.
think it's not for it's not party music, is
Yeah.
it? It's quite serious. Some of the themes.
Depends what kind of party you're going to.
This is it. Yeah.
So let's talk about your projects because
Cool.
you're doing some really amazing things, and I want everyone to know about it.
Thank you.
So
So do we.
Yeah. So yeah, you have like multiple things, but let's go through all of them.
Cool. So I mean, let's start with Right to Speak.
Mhm.
With the workshops and stuff. So, we literally work with all different groups of people, from primary school children. The youngest people we've worked with are people of like 5 and 6 years old who actually did somehow respond to the spoken word activities we suggested to them.
I bet they did.
Surprisingly, generally we work with people from the age of sort of 8 or 9 upwards, sort of year 5 and 6 up. And we do a lot of work in primary schools, a lot of work in secondary schools. We've also worked in colleges. We've worked in universities.
Wow.
I had a position as a visiting lecturer at East 15 Drama School last year, teaching spoken word as part of their voice module, which was really cool, and I'll hopefully be returning to do some more work there. And then we work with a lot of charities who support marginalised young people and marginalised adults. So people who are, for example, people who are refugees, or people who are suffering with mental illness, or people who have disabilities, or people who struggle to engage in society for a vast array of reasons, or just young people who feel disconnected and young people who don't have a space to express themselves. And so we show people that poetry can be anything, and that it's for everyone. And we say to people, you know, that you can express yourself in whatever way you want. It can be rap, it can be a poem, it can be a public speech, it can be funny, it can be serious. All it's about is expressing what you've got to say, what's on your mind and what's in your heart. And we tell people that, you know, whatever you say will be brilliant because your mind is unique. And no one thinks the same as you do, and no one's going to put their words in the same order that you will. So whatever you've got to say is worthwhile. And, you know, we make people feel valued for whatever it is that they've got to say.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Thank you. And so one of the recent projects we did, which was a highlight of our work so far, was an Arts Council England funded project working with 12 primary schools across London, 8 in Enfield, 2 in Brent and 2 in Croydon. And during this project we delivered over 140 workshops. We worked with about 1,000 young people.
Wow.
Every young person involved participated in 4 spoken word workshops at their school as part of their curriculum, and then everyone got to participate in a school performance in an assembly. And then we invited a selection of those young people to come and perform at the Millfield Theatre in Enfield.
Wow.
And so these 70-odd young people put on this incredibly moving spoken word show to an audience of several hundred people.
Oh my gosh.
And all their teachers and their parents and their families and their friends got to see them doing this incredible thing and sharing these, the sentiments that these young people share. This was primary school children aged 5 and 6, years 5 and 6 of primary school, so they're 10 and 11 years old. And the things that these children were talking about were so powerful and so important and so interesting. And just hearing it in these raw voices and in a poetic way is so powerful and so moving. That we want to continue doing that work. It was a pilot project that we did, and it was incredibly successful. And we're hoping to run a similar project out in all primary schools across the UK, starting in London, because the difference this makes to young people's lives is phenomenal. I struggle to describe it in words, but like to give a few examples, like we literally have like maybe 50% of the participants say that they feel more confident, that they believe in themselves, they've found their voice. A lot of young people come out of the workshops going, I've found a passion. I didn't know that I had anything to say. I didn't know that anyone cared what I thought. And we literally are seeing it change young people's lives. Some young people who will not speak, they won't say their name in front of the class. And after 4 workshops, they'll stand up and perform a poem sharing their most heartfelt thoughts. And it really is changing young people's lives.
I'm crying.
And I cry often in workshops, and we don't even hide it, you know, because the part of the way we work is about transparency and mutual respect, and letting our work be learner-led. And so, you know, when a young person moves us, we don't hide it. You know, we're open with them, and we let them see that we are affected by what they have to say, and we look at them in the eye, and we get down on their level, and we speak to people respectfully, and we get people in circles, and we work in a way that's very different to the traditional education system. And that is so freeing for young people that it produces amazing, amazing results.
That's so amazing.
And so for anyone listening who thinks this work sounds valuable and like it might be something you know young people who would benefit from, please do check out our website, if I can do a little plug. Our website's www.writetospeak.co.uk. That's WRITE, the number 2, speak.co.uk. And check out our website, look at the testimonials, look at the films we've made with young people, and I think that will speak for itself.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, well done. Yeah.
Thank you. It was a great project to be a part of. I mean, thanks to Arts Council England as well for making this type of work possible.
Amazing,
it's a long process getting that funding, but it enables us to do this work, which otherwise we wouldn't be able to do, and otherwise these young people wouldn't get. So that's a beautiful thing as well.
I'm so for this because, like, I work in a primary school.
Okay.
And I see how, like, throughout the day it's so structured, you know, and there's barely any time just for, like, a child to have a free thought.
Right.
And they, you know, say it, and it's like, no, because we need to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what were they going to say?
And
What were they thinking?
It isn't the teacher's fault.
No.
They are overworked and they're overpressured,
Yeah.
and they're being forced to teach a rigid curriculum that's
Yeah.
200 years outdated.
Yeah.
And so, as you said, young people don't get the chance to think freely
Yeah.
and to explore their own thoughts and their own mind. And it's a very damaging system, and that's why the
Yeah.
work we're doing is so essential. And you can literally see young people being kind of revived back to
Yeah.
back to their childish nature and
Yeah.
their freedom of expression, because
Yeah.
they've been so conditioned by our education system to only speak when they're spoken to and to
Mhm.
only think about certain topics, whereas really we should be asking young people what is it they want to learn
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. And I think it affects you throughout life, and then by the time you're an adult, there's so many people that kind of have just turned to grey. You know, they've lost all their colour
well
because
put.
for so long it's no, that's we can't do that today. We can't talk about that right now. We need to do this and save that for later. But will there be a later? Probably not. And then by the time it's the end of the day, sometimes I see them walk out and they're colourless, you know?
100%.
And it's so sad.
And now we've got this society of, lost adults walking around in this malaise,
Yeah.
and so many people trying to heal themselves as an adult when they realise the trauma that they've suffered as a young person.
Yes.
But really we need to be tackling it where we can see it being caused
Yeah.
in the schools, and by teaching people how to parent as well, and by teaching people how to support the young people around them.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Really.
It makes so much sense. We just need the government to listen.
Yeah.
But things are changing, they're changing slowly, but they are changing.
Yeah.
10, 20 years ago, there were none of these projects, no creative projects supporting mental health. And now there are all these different initiatives about arts engagement as an early intervention to support young people with their well-being and their mental health. It's just we all need to connect, and that needs to then be heard in those higher places by the man and those systems that are putting out the rules.
And the older people as well, because for us in this day and age, we are so lucky because there's so many good conversations, even like conversations we have today that didn't exist years ago. People often fall out with their parents, they could be so angry at them, but they didn't have the tools that we have now, so it's like we all need to kind of start meeting each other where we're at and understanding that isn't always there,
Would now be an appropriate time for me to say a little poem?
Yes, please.
Lot of lost souls searching. When I open my heart, I hear them hurting. Conditioned by material urges lurking. Put a mask on every person, the world will look disturbing. Caught up, wrestling these social norms. Yes, she's special, but looks so forlorn. At the window of the world in need of soul reform, where most people never recognise their wholest form. Yeah, I'm scribbling my oldest thoughts. No, riddling I roll withdrawals. From very young being so distraught at the view of life we're mostly taught. Like we're nothing more than unholy thought when we know we're more. How many truly satisfied? How many bubble wrapped in lies, caged inside contorted mind of a version that we're taught is right, of a version that we're taught is life, gaze averted from the source of light. They've commercialised our instincts like we're meant to leave an imprint, when essentially we're in sync. So everything is perfect just the way it is right now, and there's a lot that still needs changing, but we'll figure it all out. Because everything is perfect just the way it is right now, and there's a lot that still needs changing, but we'll figure it all out. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah.
You just said that slowly things are changing, and I think you need to say this because thanks to people like you, that are writing this history, and I'm sure, for example, one of these kids, they will look to you and say, it's not just I want to be a poet now, just to write now, but maybe they will also think about one day I also want to create something to teach like these kids, because these guys showed me a different path, opening my mind, and
I believe that they will. I truly believe they will. We've actually had some examples of that already in our work so far. One group we started, we had a Zoom workshop run by the Essex University, but it was participated by people of all ages, from 9 to 80, and it was on Zoom during lockdown, so people all over the world. And we ran this weekly for nearly a year, and then the university didn't have any more money to fund it, and one of the participants continued that group, and they now meet monthly online 2 years later, and they still meet those same people, and they take turns at facilitating the session.
Nice.
And so that is really how it should work. We work with a group for maybe a year, and then they learn those skills just by watching and being part of that, and then they can continue to deliver that work. That's it. Another young person, this was an older gentleman, a young person we worked with through the Carers Trust. She participated in also an online workshop, and then later down the line, inspired by one workshop, she went on to set up her own spoken word workshops for young people in her local area. And then she actually ended up being an intern at the Carers Trust and offering spoken word workshops to their staff. And it's just beautiful to see. And I do believe that, some of these primary school kids will go on to be artists who will have a big impact in the world and be change makers.
See, they will remember you, man. And just one more thing that was funny. I said to Chelsea before the show, because last month I was here with Casey, and then he's also a teacher. And then we were like talking about you because of the work you do with kids as well. And then, we worked together for this show. And then I said to her, if you have anyone that you would like to invite, just let's do it, for the next month. But then, I was talking to Casey here, and she wasn't with us. And then without speaking to each other, she mentioned you. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I was just speaking about him last week with Casey. And then now you are saying you want to invite him, so and then now we are here,
Well, it's beautiful to be here. Things aligned.
Yeah, so thanks for coming. I'm really enjoyed this, so I'm gonna
absolute
pass the mic back to you.
It's really nice to be in this like cute little kind of homely shed in Brixton, which is quite a long way from where I live, but you guys have such an amazing collective, and it's the vision of your collective and the values that you support and promote, and having been to some of your events, I know that there's a lot of love in what you do, and so it's a pleasure to be part of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say as well, just what you were saying before, I think as we get older, we really have a job of planting seeds and watching them grow, and that's exactly what you do in these schools, with the children, like you plant seeds, and then they grow, and then what comes of them, what fruits they make is up to the children, So I think we're all gardeners as well.
Some trees that will change the world out there.
Yeah.
Some powerful seeds.
Yeah. Well, should we play a couple of tracks? Yeah?
You want to hear more of my stuff?
Yeah, we do.
All right, go on. Well, let's go back. And when I say back, I mean talking about this digital device that's in front of us. And we forgot up to the ones above. I'm a bit nervous and excited about this. I'm going to play something unreleased. This is a new project that I made last year that's produced by my very good friend Vanders the Eighth. He's also an artist in his own right. In fact, he's the best artist I know, and he's the best artist I've ever heard, and he's an absolute rock star, and he's going to be the next.
That's nice of you.
The next, search me for the most famous, best musician you can think of. He really is. So do go and check him out. You can find him on Spotify and all that stuff. Vanders is Vanders V111, like Vanders the Eighth, and the Eighth is Roman numerals. So he kindly produced this project for me, and it was really cool to work with him. And I guess this will show sort of the development from my last project that was made a couple of years ago. Ooh, what track? Let's play My City, and then we'll play Triffin.
Exclusives.
Sitting looking over my city, I feel no pride in the sky. Locked by the building, smoking pity. I ask why. Good-hearted, penniless paupers work under heartless city stalkers. It's like the city stalks us through these rippling gauntlets, chasing the rich and gorgeous to become rich and wretchedly thoughtless. Next thing, the rich are the poorest. Lost in the city's metamorphosis, the shard splits, the skyline divides. I reside in a messed up city, concrete vibes. I strive to find something more to this. There must be something more than this. Critical depiction of metropolitan bliss that flickers over the cityscape horizon. My need to escape is rising from this intoxicated city glow, radiating everywhere we go. You can see it buzzing around the buildings at night. On Primrose Hill, it's a picturesque sight. Bathing in brutal construction light, the ever-bright artificial city night. It's like an animation painting of Renaissance greatness. Lost in the city's metamorphosis, the shard splits, the skyline divides. I reside in a messed up city, concrete vibes. I strive to find something more to this. There must be something more than this. Critical depiction of metropolitan bliss that flickers over the cityscape horizon. My need to escape is rising from this intoxicated city. The city's shimmering kind of mimics water's glistening. In a sickening way it entices me to nestle and revel in the vessel of the city's effervescence. Breathing toxins into adolescence, the city's ever vengeant. Killing the youth for what our parents didn't do. But tell me, what does the city mean to you? Lot of lost. Lot of lost souls searching. When I open my heart, I hear them hurting. Conditioned by material urges lurking, put a mask on every person, the world will look disturbing. Caught up, wrestling these social norms. Yeah, she's special but looks so forlorn. At the window of the world in need of soul reform, where most people never recognise their wholest form. Yeah, I'm scribbling my oldest thoughts, no riddling. I roll withdrawals from very young, being so distraught at the view of life we're mostly taught. That we're nothing more than unholy thought when we know we're more. How many truly satisfied? How many bubble wrapped in lies, caged inside contorted mind of a version that we're taught is right, of a version that we're taught is life. Gaze averted from the source of light. They've commercialised our instincts like we're meant to leave an imprint. And essentially we're in sync, so everything is perfect just the way it is right now. And there's a lot that still needs changing, but we'll figure it all out. Cause everything is perfect just the way it is right now. And there's a lot that still needs changing, but we'll figure it all out.
That was cool.
Thank you. Unreleased. Yeah, that's off my new EP. It's called Lost Souls. The EP will be out later this year, I hope. They're the first 2 tracks.
Exclusive. Yeah, that was really cool. I like the ambience of it. It was nice.
Yeah, big up Dylan Vanders on the production. Vanders the 8th.
Yeah, we'll check it out. I wanted to ask you, just, you do lots of different types of things, but what is your inspiration for your poetry, for your music?
Great question.
Yeah, it's a big one.
My two things spring to mind. One is grime music and the other is nature, which is probably why I've ended up with the weird juxtaposed genre that I make. I grew up listening to Devlin and Getz and N-Dubs and Chipmunk and Gigs, as well as a bit of American hip-hop, Eminem, Tupac, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Kanye, and that sort of stuff inspired me. Skepta, that was what I grew up on, and that kind of music always really inspired me, and I always used to try and write that kind of music, but as a little white kid with a lisp, I never got very far as a rapper, which is why I was really happy when I found spoken word, and why I really enjoy trying to kind of forge a new lane musically. So there's that side of it. The other side of inspiration is nature. I love spending time in nature, climbing and hiking and camping. That's my real passion, as well as poetry. I have these 2 major passions in my life, and I want to find ways of sharing the joy that nature gives me and the feeling of freedom it gives me. I want to find ways of sharing my experience with other people, and I do that through spoken word. And then the last main source of inspiration is, am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
How fucked the world is, how fucked up society is, and all the different places where I see a massive need for change, particularly because of who I am and my experience. That's often connected to education and young people, but also connected to health and freedom as a society.
Wow.
And so trying to fight inequality.
Yeah, and shining a light on the things that you see that need help
changing and addressing. And it's protest music, and it's political poetry. And it's aiming to make people think.
Yeah, I love that, because I think a lot of people probably wouldn't see a connection in like nature and then like this protest, but really they go hand in hand, you know, like if we don't protest these things, then nature isn't going to be there for us anymore. It's all together, like everything is connected, everything is connection.
And it's about fighting for the natural and the true and the beauty, and trying to work your way around all the materialistic, technological, concrete crap.
Yeah, and making it work for us. Not us work for it, but it work for us. Yeah. Well, I love that. I think that's some really good inspirations, and it shows in your work.
That's a lovely question. Thanks for asking it.
So your next event, would you like to kind of promote it a little bit? And
I'd love to. So as Right to Speak, we run a monthly spoken word open mic night at the Queen's Arms in Barnet, top end of the Northern Line. A very short walk from High Barnet Station or New Barnet Station. It's a lovely little pub. We have the back room of it, and we turn it into an absolute party. We turn the back room of that pub into this incredible community space, just filled with the most beautiful energy. And we've been running it for nearly a year now, and we kind of consistently get at least 50 people turning up every month, which is lovely. And we have an open mic, and we have feature poets, and we just have an amazing eclectic mix of people coming to share their voice in all different styles. Our event is on the third Wednesday of every month, which happens to be tomorrow. And so our next event is tomorrow night, which is Wednesday the 17th of May. And tomorrow night's is a special event because we're doing a music month. So we're not just having spoken word, but we're also having a live jazz band who are going to be improvising and accompanying our open micers and our poets throughout the night.
Amazing.
So tomorrow's going to be amazing. Our next, we've got 17th of May and then 21st of June. And then that should continue third Wednesday of every month at the Queen's Arms in Barnet. And you can find out all about that via our Instagram, which is at Right to Speak UK.
Amazing. So many more people are starting to introduce the idea of like having improvised music along with poetry, and oh my gosh, doesn't it make such an amazing show?
It just makes sense. You know, you go to a few of these gigs where they're mixing the poetry and the music, and you think, I don't want to hear poetry without music anymore. And don't get me wrong, there's space for both, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just beautiful to blend the art forms, and I think the music makes it more accessible for some people who might not engage with poetry without it, and it makes it fun for us as poets and artists to be put on our toes and to collaborate and create in different ways.
For sure, because I think, like, you know, like we were saying earlier, the poetry community is very tight, you know, and that's so beautiful because we're all such good friends, and like, you know, it's such a safe space, but it's not always inviting to people who don't do poetry.
Exactly, and that's what I think Ted Temple, who runs Grooveverse, has been promoting really hard. The fact that although, and it's a really interesting balance to find, because spoken word is a community art form. It is the way we practice it is about supporting people to express themselves and supporting everyone to express themselves and giving everyone a voice, but that's not always consistent with producing the highest quality of art. And so that's where it gets interesting, and where we need to create spaces that acknowledge poetry as a therapeutic tool, but also spaces like Grooveverse that are pushing the art form to the best place it can be, and excelling the art form and putting on a show where someone with no interest in poetry can come and be entertained for the night. And I'd like to say that is actually what we managed to do at Right to Speak as well. Even though we have a mix of open micers and features, we've somehow created this space where the standard is really high. And we have people of all backgrounds. Some people who had no interest in poetry. We have the drunks from the pub strolling in, and some of them have fallen in love with spoken word. And they come every month now, and they enjoy the spoken word. And we've had all these people you wouldn't expect getting involved. And when people see it in action, they see what it is, and they don't just think about the stigma.
Yeah, because like people coming along and they have no intention of performing, they have no intention of being a poet, sharing the words, but just there to just enjoy. That's something that's really special to create. So well done 100%. For creating that.
It's beautiful. And we have like some people come down. We have a couple of nurses who come down from the local hospital who just saw a poster that we put up around the area, and they've been coming every month for 6 months now. And one of them performed last month and decided that actually they had something they want to share, that had some trauma that had been building up for a while and they'd never felt comfortable to speak about, and they decided to come and share at our event, and they were superb. And so we have all these people come out who just blow the audience away with these performances that we're not expecting, and it's always really beautiful and a moving night. Yeah, that is so beautiful. Well, what else would you like to talk about? Maybe we can play some more tunes, or I've got a couple more poems. Yeah, let's do that. I've got a new one. I hate to read off my technology, but I've got a new one that I'd really like to share, and I'm not up to date with learning my back catalogue of poems yet. I've got about 100 poems, and I know about 20 or 30 of them, but they're the ones that I wrote back in the day. And this one's new, but I'd like to share it. Live every day like it's your last. Smoke bear zoots in the bath. You cannot change the past, so accept your current path. Or change paths if you don't like it. There's so many options out there. One of them will be for you. You'll find it. There's no doubt there. I just want to intercept that negative thought before it hits your introspect. Before you turn it into intellect to inspect, let me give you some perspective. Because we're no more than a speck of dust on this reflective mirror of us. And we work like there's never enough. We strive for these material goals. I think they're immaterial though. We strive for these material goals, forgetting that material develops holes. We want to wear the freshest clothes while we patch the ozone. Deathly woes on our only home, worth fighting, but only if I film it from my phone. I want to inspire you to go outside, because there's nothing in this device that's really worth your time. I want to inspire you to go outside, because there's nothing worth your time in this device. And every moment on your screen you're missing life. Not quite. Right now I'm writing and I feel quite nice. Flow state, hold tight. It's been months for mine, like waiting on the Northern Line. It's on country time. I'm trying to conjure up that London shine, do it global style. Have the peas to still be here, but still be chilling on an aisle. Might hit Ireland or Dubai, get my pockets in the sky. Real estate looking nice, Lamborghini on my drive. But while you're chasing a life in the sky, life here on earth is passing by. And every day people younger than us die, often unexpectedly. Maybe that means we should live more recklessly and love more generously and hold less jealousy and spend less time searching for remedies for problems that don't exist. Because at the end of the day, all there is this and that. And it's not white and black, it's grey and rainbow, fantastic and perfect, yet broken and worthless, everything and nothing. Would we find more if we searched less? Would we love more if we hurt less? Thank you.
There's some powerful topics today, isn't there? I love it.
I can't help. I try and keep it light, but I always fail. Yeah.
You're like chilling in your room and you're like, I'm gonna write a nice poem.
I've got a nice one to finish. If there's 2 minutes at the end, I've got a positive one to end on.
Definitely. Well, is there anything else that you would like to talk about and want anyone listening to know of?
Great question. Boom. Get outside. Go find some time to spend in nature, whether that's in a local park near your home, or if you can get on a train to the Peak District or something, or if you can get to Wales, try and get out there. Try and get out your house, speak to people, try and speak to strangers. That seems to be really positive for one's well-being. And if you're interested in the educational work we've been talking about today and the work that I do with Right to Speak, please do check us out. And if you work with young people, or you work in education, or you work in government, or in a local council, and you understand and you see the value of this work for the young people in your area, please do get in touch with us, and let's organise a project and spread the word and get more young people expressing themselves.
Yeah. Build the community. I wonder, I just thought now, do you have any rituals that you do every day? Or I journal every single day, and I just, because you seem like a very, you're clearly working yourself and you're a very healthy person. So I just wonder, is there anything that you do that you could share with people?
Great question. There's nothing that I do religiously. I change my habits quite regularly. I feel like I fall into structures for short periods of time and then they change. But I try and do exercise every day. Whether that's just simply doing a bit of stretching and a bit of yoga and a bit of jogging, or whether that's trying to go for a big run or go to the gym or go climbing. For me, it's exercise. If I don't do exercise, my mental health suffers. I don't feel like my mind works properly, and I feel stiff, and I just don't feel like I'm fluid and flowing. And when I've climbed or been for a run or done some exercise, I feel great. So
that's interesting. Because I always wonder with people, people who you can clearly see are doing good things and, you know, working on themselves and things, I always think, what do they do?
Yeah, there's different things for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
I try and do a bit of meditation with an app called Waking Up by Sam Harris, which I found really helpful. But I'm no whiz at it. I'm no master. You know, it's just something that I try sometimes, and I do find helpful. But yeah, exercise for me is golden.
That's nice. Yeah, that's good.
What about you, Chelsea?
So I journal every single day, and I'll just get out all of my thoughts.
Nice.
And every single day I list what I'm grateful for.
Oh, yeah.
I normally try to do 3, but normally I'll try to do as many as I can. But if it's like a day where I'm like, I don't know, then I'll just do 3 minimum.
Every morning?
Yeah, every morning. Sometimes in the nighttime, depends what I'm up to. But yeah, that's one thing that I have to, and if I notice I don't want to be too attached to something where if I don't do it, I'm not like okay, because I don't think that's healthy either.
Yeah, you don't need to rely on any of those habits. It's just good to implement them when you can.
But I definitely notice, like, if I don't do it for like a week, I will notice I'm just feeling a bit all over the place. My thoughts aren't organized.
You're a bit stagnant and messy at the same time.
Yeah, so that's what I like to do.
I had a really nice one when you're going to bed. Just go through the things that are not you. So just a little mantra like, you know, I'm grateful for this house or this roof over my head, but this is not me. I'm grateful for the people around me, but they are not me. I'm grateful for this body, but this is not me. I'm grateful for my mind working well, but these thoughts are not me. And, you know, just to remember all the things we're not, because trying to work out what you are is pretty hard, but sometimes you can work out what you aren't.
Yeah. What's the saying? You have to be who you're not to know who you are.
To be who you're not to know who you are. Yeah, I guess so. That's one way of finding out. Certainly, you do something and you just feel terrible, and you know that was not a good thing for you to do.
I'm not going to do that again. Would you like to do your closing poem?
I'd love to.
Thank you.
Love. Nothing more than a word, just an absurd verb that perturbs, an abstract noun that disturbs. Such internal stirs as makes lovers hers, and hers his. The house and kids, the companionship, unity is bliss, that which all starts with a kiss and don't tell at age 12, 'cause we were all naughty kids just trying to do naughtiness, not knowing there was so much more to this. So how beautiful the progression to lifelong friendship. A king and queen able to share a settee in their own setting is such a blessing. Let that be a love that isn't testing, rare to find but special when it vibes, and those two entities collide in the space and time somewhere just outside the average reach of mind, where soul and body intertwine. In search of these heights we step outside, open-eyed, hearts floating as our breath breaks through our chests and sings in the skies. And way up there, love lies. Peacefully asleep on the humstrings of a violin's angel wing, love sits, admiring all the attributes adorned to him, all the dialects describing adoring him, and more that just love to admit que j'adore, and more, amour, amo, we load arrows into our own pictures of Cupid's bows as we bow our heads at Cupid's toes. Let me sit back into my wisdom. Looking at the bigger picture, love is part of the system. You hear it within my scripture. The moment's exactly what I'm trying to capture when I'm describing love as rapture. But listen closely as I change the focus. Watch the aperture. There's infinite kinds of love. Here's another one coming at you. That sibling love, that simple stuff, that being there for each other when nothing else is enough, that bond you share that's more than blood. It's that growing up together trust. Then there's that business love, that let's make money and build a business, bruv. Then there's best friend love, those chosen family brotherly hugs. And then there's that synergy love, that nature's touching the inner me love, that elevated spiritual buzz when I see what your intricacy does. I'm talking mountainous river love, all stemming from above, because way up there in her chair sits love. Untainted Mother Earth watching over us as people repeatedly paint patterns in the process of love.
I love that one. We've heard that one before. I love that one. Well, Yossi, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your lovely words and all the amazing things that you're doing.
Listen, thank you guys so much for having me on. It's been such a pleasure to come and have a chat with you guys and to get to play some of my stuff that I've not shared before and some of my old stuff, and it's been absolutely lovely, so thank you.
No, thank you for coming, man. Is for us as well, it's a big pleasure, to be able to produce this and to invite people to come here with us. And you are the third guest, so she was the first one. Casey was the second one, and then now you are the third
Honored.
one.
I'm a bronze medal winner. No
but
one else
yeah.
is getting the medal.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. And you know, the chat was so good that we even forgot to promote our own event. No.
I was going to say, so what have you guys got going on? And Karma Collective making waves. What's happening next?
Yeah, just quick, because we would like to play the last tune that Chelsea brought here today. But anyway, our next event is next Tuesday at the same place, Hootanan, here in Brixton. And we were just talking about, you know, what we put on the lineup. And I don't think we have a rule at Nakam as well. We mix musicians and sometimes singers, sometimes poets, and I think this is what makes it special as well. And for this next one, we have 3 guests as headliners. One of them is a girl called Maricia, I think it's the pronunciation, and she plays the arpa for Levitation Orchestra. I played an album in the beginning of Levitation Orchestra. It's a jazz collective band from London. She plays the harpa. So she's going to be playing alongside with the guy who plays flute. His name is Luis. So this is let's say, the main performance. And also we have Chifa. And
Shifa K?
Yes.
Oh, she's a dope poet.
Yeah, Chelsea invited her. And we also have Rian Broke.
Oh, nice. She's amazing too.
So
what
yeah,
a
we are
lineup.
quite excited.
Oh
and
my
also
gosh.
the open mic session as well after, you know, all the performances. And I will be there as well, playing some records in the beginning.
Do not miss it. Do
So
not
yeah,
miss it. Hootenanny Brixton on
next
Tuesday.
Thank you. You know, he's a proper promoter, man. So yeah, for me that's it. Thank you so much for everyone listening. You know, BMC Radio for the space. It's a nice studio here, down to this pub called Hope and Anchor. So you know, we are here in the shed, in the backyard.
Come find us in the shed.
So yeah, thanks for having us. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Yossi. So if you want to play your last tune or say something, yes.
Well, as you're the DJ, I'm going to let you do this one for me. This is a record that I just found in my boyfriend's record box. And I played it, and it was so nice and so cool. And the guy's talking about a poem, and it's just really beautiful. And I thought it would be a nice ending for the show. Tiago can pronounce the title better than I can.
Oh yeah, the track is called Guantanamera. It's a Spanish word, I guess.
Guantanamera. Guantanamera.
Soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Antes de morir me quiero echar los tarzos del alma. Guantanamera, cogida Guantanamera, Guantanamera, cogida Guantanamera. Mi verso es de un verde claro y de un jazmín encendido. Mi verso es de un verde claro y de un jazmín encendido. Mi verso es un cielo querido que busca el monte Amparo.
The words mean I am a truthful man from the land of the palm trees. And before dying, I want to share these poems of my soul. My poems are soft green. My poems are also flaming crimson. My poems are like a wounded fawn seeking refuge in the forest. The last verse says, Con los pobres de la tierra. With the poor people of this earth, I want to share my fate. The streams of the mountains please me more than the sea.
Complacemos que el mar One